Hi guys, welcome to Assessed Bushcraft and Survival.
I'm Bushcraft.
And I'm Survival. And today we're going to run Bushcraft through a little mind game, a little thought experiment. I'm going to give a prepping scenario and I'm going to see what Bushcraft would do in order to handle / complete said scenario, reaching the objective of affecting his survival.
So let me guess. I'm sitting at home and I've just woken up and I'm notified via news that there is a nuclear bomb hitting my exact location of residence. Is that what you're gonna? I've got T-minus 30 seconds. Is that?
T-minus 30 seconds would be a little unrealistic. No one could do anything, especially with that type of event happening. We have a much simpler scenario for you today.
Okay, much simpler. I'm excited.
So what we're looking at is you have woken up. Since you're at home. I think that'll actually work nicely because
Cool.
It makes things potentially more complicated than being at work, because with work you'd have to just get back to your home and then from there things would be fairly straightforward because time would be a thing. You'd be grabbing only core essentials. So to complicate things, this scenario will have you at your home where you still have a luxury of time to think and pick and choose, adding more confusion to what you may get, making it a harder scenario.
Okay.
So you've woken up to your phone ringing. You've got like 35, 40 missed calls from me. It's panic. You see you've got probably twice as many texts of the same thing.
Okay.
And what do these texts say? These texts say that according to the timestamp on them, which shows 5 minutes before you actually woke up, you received the last text and the last missed call. And from 5 minutes prior to you waking up, the message said you had T-minus 2 hours, 32 minutes, so you get a little more than 2.5 hours, in order to put your plan into action because there is a foreign military invasion from an unknown part of the world. We're not going to name anyone, we don't want to cause any political issues here, this is just a thought experiment, guys. But you have a credible threat of a foreign military invasion coming. So this is kind of a tomorrow when the war began type scenario. What do you do?
Well, firstly I hit snooze and I take an extra 15 minutes to have a good little nana nap. Probably not. I wish.
I was going to say that's a bit of time wasting there.
Yeah, I probably...
You can nap when you're dead, as the saying goes. You know, plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, with things going the way they are, it's sooner rather than later. Alright, so I've gotten this. I'm obviously awake enough to read and comprehend what's going on, at least to the basic ability. So I'm kicking myself out of bed.
Are you panicked, flustered, worried, scared, unsure, think it's a joke, think someone's having your leg?
Oh, look, no, because the source of information is a trusted source. If he wasn't a trusted source, he wouldn't be within that group of people that I'm planning on trying to survive with. I'm probably trying to ring you to get a better... I mean, look, I'm going to review the text messages, depending on how much information you've been able to provide in them.
They're detailed.
They're detailed.
And they're a copy and paste job, only adjusting the time.
Okay, well that's okay then. So I'll probably still call to let you know that I've gotten them. Failing that, I'll send you a text message to know that I've gotten it and that I'm on the plan. Knowing that you've messaged me, I know that you've messaged all other relevant parties, which is good. So I'm assured in the fact that enacting our strategy, that'll be met at the appropriate points and places.
Yep.
With the people that are necessarily supposed to be there. I'm loading up my car, most likely.
Are you doing this covertly, or are you letting it be obvious?
Well, here's the thing. So if I'm reading these text messages, right? And I'm trying to get in touch with you. Do I get in touch with you?
If you need to, yes. Otherwise, just as per...
No. I mean, like I've tried to ring you. Have I gotten in touch with you?
Okay. Well, in this situation, would say probably no, because
No, okay.
I'm already enacting a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
However, I would be expecting some sort of confirmation that someone could just read out to me in the form of like a okay or on my way or is a go. Some really brief, short thing to know that you've actually got my message.
Got it. Because my question was going to be, right, I just remembered. So the reason I ask if I've been able to get in touch with you is because I want to know whether or not this is now public information. What time of the night did you say this was?
Well, this is actually probably during the day, and I mean, look, this could be at night, but either way, I was basically thinking the day, like morning after a major sporting event or whatever, where a lot of people are hungover, tired, out of it. But for the sake of the scenario and the sake of ease, we'll say it's 1:15 a.m. So really, when everyone's in bed, everyone's asleep, roads are empty, and look, even law enforcement for the most part is out of it because the hoons are finished.
Yeah. Okay. No, I asked just for the fact that if I'm going to be packing up my things, if I already know that Joe Blow next door is doing the same thing or is doing something to that effect, then obviously I don't need to worry. But looking through the messages, if I'm reviewing it, given the time of night, etc., and I'm thinking, okay, this is information that is not going to be acted on by the masses, then what I would like to do is keep that information as close to me as possible. Given my locale, I'm probably trying to touch base with my parents and my brother, because obviously family to me is very important.
But at the same time, you also have to watch, do you actually notify them or do you leave them out of a plan, because who are they going to tell? Last thing you want is a phone tree effect. Where one person calls 10 and those each call 10, before you know it, you've got 1,000 people all coming your way to the one location and nowhere near enough staff.
Of course. No. So I understand who it is you're talking to. Operational security is very important. But I'll probably be getting in touch with my family because obviously they're on board, they understand what's going on. And then from there, moving from my place of sleep to my place of gathering everything that I can and putting it into my car. Things that I'm bringing. Luxury is time, which I have perhaps too much of, given that I'm at home. Grab my 72-hour pack.
Keep in mind, you need at least, in ideal conditions, 50 minutes to get from your place to point A to meet, and then from there probably another 30 minutes to get to effectively a base camp / area we can set up.
So 72-hour bag, I will probably be picking up my 2 secondary bags. The auxiliaries are already in the car.
Throwing in any remaining bottles of water you got in your house.
So there'd be a few.
Sweeping the pantry, filling the cup.
That's exactly what I was going to say there. Grabbing any types of food canisters and that. I've got in our pantry, we have a quick exit box. So it's a box that for the most part already has some things in it. But you don't want to be, day to day you want to be living a normal life.
It's effectively a bug out bag, but only of food. But it's a box, so you can cycle through it fairly quickly. But if you need to grab, you can grab.
Yeah, exactly. So when I buy new items, I'll put them in there, and I'll cycle those to the pantry. So now when I'm grabbing food from the pantry, everything's fine. That box is either 1/2, 2/3 full, whatever it might be. But at a moment's notice, if required, I pull that out, already majority full, then take things from the pantry to stock it to full, and then I can move.
One other point to note is when he says he's got a box for this, that box is actually sitting inside numerous other identical boxes that are empty. So you can easily fill 3 to 6 boxes in very short time.
Exactly. Probably leaving the freezer alone, I think.
Well, unless it's something you're going to eat immediately, like some bits of venison or some snags or some steaks. It's always good because you want to make your initial time, as we've always said, when something goes bad or something goes wrong, you want your initial experience to be as seamless, pleasant, and comfortable as possible to let you adjust gradually.
Yeah.
Major adjustments are bad.
Yeah. I will probably, and I think survival will back me on this, I'll probably make myself something to eat.
Yep, that's a good thing because you don't know. Once you're out and once you're on the go, if the timeline of events, your scenario could be accelerated on. It could be accelerated. Other things in the timeline that can affect it could change, causing you to have a shrunken timeline. As such, I would honestly say, if you can spare 15 minutes, make yourself some food, grab yourself something to drink. Let anything you've had to drink pass through your system. It should in that period of time, especially if you're fully hydrated. Get fully hydrated and then get on the road, because once you're out and about, you may not have time to stop or refuel yourself.
I didn't realise.
You want to be at your best.
Yeah. So from there, I guess I'm moving to point A. All things considered, hopefully meeting up with the group, and then from there we're moving on to our base camp. In going from my point A to location, I'm trying to abide by all road rules.
Attract zero attention where possible.
Now, of course, it should go without saying, but obviously in that heightened situation, you are fighting against yourself to put your foot to the floor and really get to where you want to go. But if you were in that situation and you did decide to take that course of action, it's rather likely that, for whatever reason, a police officer or other law enforcement type will pull you over, and that's only going to cause further strain on your situation.
And some somewhat awkward questions when they go, so why is your car full of all this crap and you're on the run? Are you trying to get away from the law or something?
Yeah.
And you don't want them asking questions like that, because we know you're not trying to get away from the law, you're not trying to do anything illegal, but people always like to assume the worst, especially when their job is to pull people over and enforce the law.
So again, wanting to get from point A to point B in a timely fashion, but again, not breaking any laws or any of that on the way. I suppose with that being the case, it's likely then that, given that I'm driving a maintained vehicle, I'm obeying all road rules appropriately. I'm enacting, my mapped route from point A to our meetup location. I'm stocked to the brim with all items of necessity that are either already stored within my vehicle or readily accessible within my home. I'm fed and hopefully showered, because again, understanding that I may or may not have the ability to do so in the near future. I've now met up with you guys. There's a couple of us here. Perhaps we're waiting on one other. We're waiting for the allotted amount of time before we then move on from that point to our base camp. Given that everybody's on the same page, it means that we can continue on from going from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and then any other participant that should be with us that isn't, we know that they also understand what we're trying to do, so we know that moving to the next step means that when they catch up to the step previous, they'll see that we've already moved on, and then we'll follow suit.
And should they not know where that next point is, we would keep one person monitoring, kind of like a scout, to keep an eye, so that when that person does arrive, we can direct them where to go. And if they arrive in a state of distress, or they're not there on their own, they're there against their will, then we can help them deal with the situation.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess from there, we've now set up. So I guess from there, we've moved to location. We're setting up our base camp how we'd like it to be set up. We're ensuring that we have a source of water. We're ensuring that we have a source of food. We're ensuring that we have appropriate security and shelter. I guess all things considered, given that we're enacting a particular plan, not necessarily the case that we've thought to ourselves, hey, invading force, this is what we'll do. If it is a pandemic, this is what we'll do, which obviously those are scenarios you may or may not want to jump through and do specifically, but all of your different scenarios that you're going to be affected by, for the most part, will be the same base plan with some tweaks here and there. This scenario, as I was going to say before, this scenario could have been different. I could have been at work, could have been a different day, it could have been a disease factor. We joked about a zombie apocalypse.
It could have had a much shorter window of time. The other thing also is, you want to keep in mind, there's a drill that we'll touch on in another video, but it's one you should practice a lot, and that is the art of the 5-minute bug out. In other words, get everything you need and get out in 5 minutes. And that, what we mean by get out is get to your mode of transport within 5 minutes with everything you need and go. Not be sitting around or running around like a headless chook, as the saying goes, grabbing what you need or think you need in order to go. These drills were very widely videoed and explained, and people actually did videos of them doing the drill quite a while back and posted it on the internet. We'll look, when we touch on it, we'll look at more details of why and why 5 minutes, what to take.
Guys, that's us looking at how we would potentially survive invading force, of all things, here in Australia. If you guys have any questions or you want to make some comments down below, please do so. We have some videos in the works trying to answer some questions that have already come to us. But look, that was a good video.
Yep.
Thanks so much for enjoying it.